to art as a medium to get this trauma a bit out of me, like to escape from this trauma, was seeing my neighbor. She was a very beautiful old Christian lady who was part of my childhood growing up. And I saw her, she was only one building away, and I saw her killed in a brutal way, in a way that she was not recognized. So seeing an innocent human being who was really peaceful getting killed in such a horrific way, it made me feel like I'm going to be killed in the next minute, in the next hour. I was a kid who wanted to live. At the time of war, there is no rationality. You just want to survive. I remember this, I cannot never forget. My family, all of us, were under the table. In a way that we thought, because you can't think with logic, you just want to be safe. So I started making sketches. I started getting this energy out, and since that day till now, I paint. A very complicated childhood, growing up in the Gaza Strip. I was told to fill out my city or village of origin. And that was very confusing as a 6-year-old kid, to tell them that where you are from is not actually where you are from, and you belong to somewhere that does not actually exist. So I went to my family and I started learning more about my own history and about the fact of being a refugee and what my village looked like, because like almost 1 million Palestinians, my family, were displaced. So when I was 8 years old, I was doing my final exams in an Arabic subject, and suddenly we had this emergency, like people were running, teachers were going through the classrooms and asking everyone to flee. So it was a surreal scene of hundreds of students running. So when I looked up in the sky, I saw the military planes really close to the ground. I heard the sound back, but then I learned it's actually a war. It's actually dangerous. So I felt that my life was at risk, because you hear and you see people getting murdered, especially my age and even younger. So going back to school, I was 12 years old and I survived my second Israeli attack. And then when I was 14, another, which was the third Israeli attack. But 2014 was quite different. It was too long. It was 52 days. And it felt like not 52 days, it felt like 52 years. The atmosphere, there was lack of electricity, so imagine you are under bombardments, under massive sounds that the human ears don't have the capacity to listen to, and you are surrounded with, I would say, it's like mass murders, Israeli tanks invading the lands and killing people randomly. I make art for me to feel great, to feel good, to feel like I'm doing something that feels similar to me. But I also feel art is a great message. So just the fact that you do art in the Gaza Strip is by itself a surprise for so many people. And it's also a great message of our demands, which is freedom, equality, living with a human basis. So it's more a way for me to help myself and to understand myself, but also it's an important instrument of the storytelling of Palestinians. Now I'm realizing this connections, that politics, it of course is very important, it makes people think, but I think art is deeper in the way it makes people feel and think. So art is very important, it's very deep, and it connects people together. But I try to paint my life, to paint how I feel, to paint the pressure I go through, to paint my lack of freedom, to paint what I dream of, to paint the love I feel. for many things. Um, but also, I'm really interested into women. I grew up with women. I learn about women. I was inspired by women, so that's why I focus on them, because they are, especially in the Gaza Strip, the best women I've ever met. Well, I don't choose the subjects. The subjects choose me. So in a way, like, I see things. But yes, I paint women mostly because I grew up with women, and in growing up in the Gaza Strip, we didn't have this deep connections with men. You know, when you live under occupation and you live under siege and very difficult, tense conditions, men have hard time expressing their feelings because they want to be seen as strong, as the one empowering the family, as, you know, they are not fragile, they are, you know, standing strong even at the time of wars. So I couldn't see emotions that really attracted me in the way they are. And also, we didn't really have these deep conversations that makes me understand their psychology, the way they think. And I also, as a woman, I think my life would have been much easier if I was a man. Of course, because when I left Gaza, I was seen as 17-year-old single woman leaving the Gaza Strip. It was something really difficult and not acceptable. In the same time, if I was a man, I would be encouraged to go out. You know, go, we can help you, support you, but when it comes to a woman, it's not easy. And there is also society pressure on women. There is like a standard of how a good woman should be and how a bad woman should be. And so I grew up really struggling with this. And I think since I was a few years old, I was a feminist and I didn't knew it. So I couldn't really accept the social structure as it is. So I grew up rebelling. I learned that how much there are Zionists who want us to be killed, who want us Gazans, Palestinians in Gaza, to not exist and to not breathe and to not have a life. But I know that when I experience glimpses of freedom, when I'm able to enjoy my life, to discover new places, to enjoy new food, it's actually something that is not only good for me, but it's a way of resisting what the occupation wants us to be: weak, fragile, victims, you know, humiliated. So I resist by having a nice life.
You say, you know,
I resist by having a pizza.
Malak dice che lei ci prova a dipingere gli uomini, ma dopo poche pennellate quegli uomini diventano donne. E queste donne dai grandi occhi, queste donne che hanno rotto le regole. Ma che cosa significa rompere le regole artisticamente?
Palestinian women that I grew up with have seen a lot of struggles, have seen a lot of suffering, but they are still strong and very powerful and inspiring. So I think the huge eyes, because like looking at my life since I was a kid, I had huge eyes, not in a physical sense, but I always had the eyes to observe, analyze, and learn about my life, about the politics of the region, and also about my surroundings. It's very hard to make art in the Gaza Strip. In a material way, in a physical way, with the censorship of the occupation. But making it despite everything is by itself a strong message, even if I just want to spend my life painting flowers. You know, it's such an important thing to, you know, to not paint a reality that is invented, but to try amid of all this grayness and in spite of all the depressing moments, is to see these fractions of hope. So I don't paint the opposite of reality. I paint reality the way I want to see it. I have the choice to paint only with black and white, which is the reality that I grew up with. But I paint everything but not black.
Color.
All color.
life.
Coloring, because I know color is dangerous. Because it's banned, because it's questioned, because it's not liked in a place that is colonized.
Ma continuo a seminare I miei alberi, senza fretta, e a cantare per il mio amore.
Una delle cose fondamentali e straordinarie anche di questa, della Palestina, di un popolo occupato, colonizzato, è che ha una cultura vibrante ed estremamente ricca. Come Asso Pace Palestina è la cosa che vogliamo far conoscere, no? Per distruggere lo stereotipo del palestinese vittima, e per esempio sicuramente Malak non è una vittima, no? E pur essendo vittima, pur essendo una che è sopravvissuta, come lei dice, a 4 attacchi israeliani, però disegna e dipinge i colori, i sogni. Malak l'ho incontrata nel 2015 su degli articoli che leggevo, ho visto i suoi quadri e da quel momento non l'ho più abbandonata. E quindi ho deciso che sarebbe stato fondamentale che lei venisse. E io penso che noi, anche come gruppi di solidarietà, dobbiamo proprio far conoscere al mondo questa creatività e l'arte, perché come diceva Malak prima, in realtà l'arte è una dimensione di libertà ed ha un linguaggio universale. Questa cosa dell'arte rompe muri, rompe barriere, parla al mondo, quindi Malak è sicuramente uno dei talenti palestinesi che va oltre l'essere palestinese, parla a tutti noi. Ha un tratto fantastico in cui appunto la sua arte parla a noi tutti, no? E quindi ci riconosciamo in quell'arte. Per cui le persone sono state molto colpite dalla sua intelligenza, dalla sua dolcezza, dal fatto che in quei dipinti non c'è odio, no? In quei dipinti c'è il sogno, la voglia di libertà, il desiderio, la tristezza, ma non c'è l'odio, non c'è la vendetta. E quindi anche dal suo messaggio, credo che abbia scalfito cuori e teste anche di quelli che non sono per la Palestina, che non conoscono bene, non soltanto perché è palestinese, ma perché fa arte e parla al mondo.
يا ليل صاحي الندى اشهد على جراحي ونسلي جيش العدا من كل النواحي.